Shaitan uses every opportunity to plant negative thoughts in our minds, because as a result of negative thoughts, we ruin the peace of our mind. That is why one of the greatest weapons of Shaitan is to create friction between two individuals, parent, child, wife, husband, brother, sister. So one has to be very, very careful. Now if you come in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, if you come in the afternoon, and if you see somebody coming out of your home, then it will not be easy for a Shaitan to plant negative thoughts in your mind, because you would rationally think that no, if something was wrong, this man would not have come in my house in daylight. Number 2, if you had informed your wife that I will be arriving at 12 o'clock at night, and when you arrived you saw somebody coming, you would immediately assume that there may have been an emergency, that's why this person is in my house, because my wife knew I was coming. So there are many benefits of the teachings of our beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And similar is the case for both men, women, both. They should not spy on each other. They should not try to look for faults in each other. Because as soon as you spy on each other, you try to find faults in each other, Shaitan realizes that this person can become my victim. This person is vulnerable. And he will begin to put negative thoughts regarding the other person. And when our peace of mind is taken away, when we are deprived of our peace of mind, then what normally happens is, it is very, very, very difficult to concentrate in the a'mal through which you acquire the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because all the time, even when you're reciting the Quran, when you're doing the zikr, the mind will be there in friction. So always try to stay away from friction, stay away from doubting people, stay away from suspicious thoughts. Always try to give an excuse to the person. As long as your deen or your deen is not in danger, or your dunya is not in a great danger. For example, I have given you 50 pounds. Now 50 pounds is not big sum in this day and age. And when I ask you that, do you owe me anything? You say, no, I don't owe you anything. So we should give this person an excuse. Because 50 pounds is no harm to me. It's not 5,000 pounds, it's not 50,000 pounds. He must have forgotten, he is a good person. I've known him for a very long time. It's not that he knows that he owes me 50 pounds and he is saying no. We should not think negatively. Many people tend to think negatively. And as a result of thinking negative about other people, they ruin the peace of other people, because they create a barrier between themselves and the people they think negative about. Oh, he's doing this to me. Oh, he's done this to me. He's done this because of this. And it's nothing. It's nothing outside. It's all in your mind. It's your mind that is cooking everything. So you ruin your peace of mind, but at the same time you ruin the peace of the other people around you, because you will misbehave with them. And sometimes you are this is happening with your family, with your children, with your wife, with your husband, with your parents. So if this is happening at home, then what will happen is that you will lose peace of mind and you will make everybody suffer in the home as well. Because if you are a family member, it's not easy to throw somebody out of the family. And similarly, if you are working somewhere, then in that working environment also, it's not easy to throw somebody out, especially if you have love for somebody, if you like somebody, if you don't hate that person and you feel sorry for that person, then why is this person behaving like this? So you don't want to throw that person out. And despite all the negativity in your mind, you don't want to leave as well. So what happens is that you are suffering as well, and you are making every individual suffer. So learn to think positive about other people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran minadhan. Stay away from a lot of suspicious thoughts. Why does Allah not say stay away from suspicious thoughts completely? Why does Allah say that from a lot of suspicious thoughts? Because there are instances in life where one has to think negatively. For example, if somebody comes to me and say that, can you borrow me 50,000 pounds? And I have got 50,000 pounds. So when somebody asks me for 50,000 pounds, and if I want to give 50,000 pounds, then Sharia teaches us to think negatively also. That can I trust this person? Will this person return my money? That's why Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran minadh-dhann. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Al-hazmu su'u zan. Suspicious thoughts is precaution. So it is in muamalat, in places like this. For example, you are an owner of a factory, you're looking for a manager. Then when you are interviewing him, you will not look at all the positive points, you will look at the negative points also. In fact, in your interview, you will focus on the negative aspects only and try to rule out all the negative aspects. So always think positive about people, unless you have to think negatively in places where Sharia has given permission. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq. Even with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, always think positive. Ana dhanne abdi bi. I deal with people according to how my servant thinks about me. If he has positive thoughts about me, I deal accordingly. And if he has negative thoughts about me, oh, Allah is very kind to him, very kind to him, very kind to him. And despite my performing umrah and going on the multazam and making dua, Allah has not accepted my prayer. Allah never accepts my prayer. No, it's not going to happen. I know it won't happen. I know I'll never become successful. No. Have good soul. So much so that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that when a person is dying, the most sinful of the people, at the time of death, he should have only good thought regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that time his thought should be that Allah will definitely forgive me. Because now to fear Allah, to have negative, is not going to help you. You are not going to start performing tahajjud now. You are in your last 5 minutes. You are in your last 5 hours. So at that time, لا يموتن أحدكم إلا وهو يحسن الظن بالله. None of you should die but in the state that he is having husn zan with Allah. Good thoughts. So never let shaitan play with you. Never let shaitan play with you. And always in life, over time, 99 out of 100 situations, a person can tell the difference between a good person and a bad person. A person who he can trust and a person who he cannot trust. Yes, 1 out of 100 you might fail. I might trust Maulana very much, and after 10 years I might realize that I've trusted the wrong person. But majority of Allah has given us this aql. So whenever you feel suspicious about somebody, then refer to this person and say that I'm feeling like this about this person. But this person has to be trustworthy. He should be God-fearing. You should have trust in him that he will. Otherwise, if he is not in your favor, if he wants to see the bad of you, or if he is jealous of that person who you are talking about, he will misguide you. So in life, we have to look for such people, maybe older than us, maybe younger than us, maybe our age, and we must value such people and make sure that we never lose such people, because they are the ones who will guide us. When our minds are filled with suspicious thoughts, what will happen is we will never be able to see the true picture. Never be able to see true picture. And I have come across many situations where one person assumes another person and all his associates as enemy, that these are all enemies, they don't like me, they don't want me. And all those people who belongs to his family or his followers, they all realize that it's nothing, it's only in his head. But nobody can make him see the true picture. That is how dangerous suspicious thoughts are. So two things, suspicious thoughts and negative thoughts. Try to become positive in life. Positive in life. They are interrelated also, suspicious thoughts and negative thoughts, but they are different also. Always remain positive in life. I always give the example that when a person enters the kitchen and he is hungry and he sees half a glass of milk only in the whole kitchen, then a person who thinks positively will look at the bottom part of the glass. That, oh, Alhamdulillah, there is a half glass of milk. And the person who thinks negatively, he will look at the top part of the glass. Oh, only half glass. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. It's going to remain half. But the first person will find satisfaction after consuming the half glass, and the second person will not find satisfaction. I give another example as well, that the difference between a positive person and a negative person is that when a positive person goes in the garden and he looks at the rose plant, then the one who thinks positively will look at the rose, and the one who thinks negatively will look at the thorns. He will not be able to appreciate the rose. And the one who thinks positively, when he returns and if you ask him, he will say that, no, I know that rose trees have thorns, but I didn't notice it because I was busy looking at the flower. So in life, there are more roses than thorns. But because we become negative and we adopt a negative attitude, then what we can see is thorns only, and we cannot appreciate the roses, the many roses that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. I always say in Urdu that wujuh-e shukr, wujuh-e sabr se zyada hai. There are more reasons for shukr than sabr in every life. If I look at my life and if I have a headache today, then that is only one reason for sabr. What about everything else? Nice family, nice friends, the 24 hours engaged in so many good things, no other, only headache. But we will only focus on that wajh sabr and we will not look at wujuh shukr. So there are so many things to be happy about, and there are so many positive things to think about. Don't look at negative things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq. It's up to an individual. How he thinks, how he feels, how he makes. Urwa ibn Zubair rahimahullah ta'ala, when one of his leg was amputated, during the night, somebody heard him say, it must have been very painful in those days. No anesthetic, nothing. So somebody heard him talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it so happened that two calamities came upon him at once. His leg had to be amputated, and number two, his son passed away as a result of an accident. So one of his sons passed away. Allah had granted him 4 sons, one of them passed away during those days. So he was saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, you had given me 4 limbs to work with. A person does most of his work with 2 hands and 2 feet. So he said that, oh Allah, you had given me 4 limbs to work with. I am so grateful to you that you have only taken away 1 from me and you have left 3 with me. People go into depression as a result of operations like this. The doctors are afraid to declare the news to the person that 1 leg or 1 hand has to be amputated. And he said, oh Allah, you had given me 4 sons. I am grateful to you that you have only taken 1 and you've left 3 with me. Positive thinking. And again, it all comes down to the same thing. As a result of tazkiyah, a person is able to acquire this quality of being positive. And when a person becomes positive thinker who is positive and not negative, it will be very easy for him to stay away from suspicious thoughts. So it's 2 different things, positive thinking and suspicious thoughts. But suspicious thoughts is to stay away from suspicious thoughts will be difficult for that person who always thinks negatively. And those of us who are victims of suspicious thoughts, those of us who are victims of negative thoughts, negativity in life, we are not optimistic, we are pessimistic. What we need to do is to pay attention to those people who counsel us and try to force ourselves to accept what that person is saying. Hey, father, mother, brother, sister, our dear and near ones, they sit down with us and they say, no, think this way, look at it this way. You have been blessed by Allah so much. What you're thinking is wrong. It's not like this, it's not like that. What we normally do is that when people explain to us a certain thing and they try to take us away from negativity into the beautiful garden of positivity, we assume that he is also my enemy. He is on the other side, not on my side. And we do listen, but not with the intention of thinking and pondering over what that person is saying and accepting. So we don't cooperate. So what we do is we alienate ourselves from everybody. Nobody alienates us, we alienate ourselves. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq to stay away from suspicious thoughts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the himmat and the courage to always think positively. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all so that we may acquire peace ourselves and we may be a source of peace and contentment for others also. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه